Hey friends, Don Albrecht here, Albrecht's Nursery and Orchard. So we're taking Scionwood and we're going to be using this for whip and tongue grafting here in about another month. And usually start around I guess it's going to be a month and a half yet. Anyway, we usually start grafting in March, and then we'll continue through. Usually the first part of April we're still grafting. And the later we graft, the easier it is for us, because then we don't have to store all those grafted trees for so long and try to keep them dormant, but yet have the graft union callus over so it's ready to roll once we get the trees out and about. But anyway, if we're taking Scionwood, when the trees are dormant, now's a good time to do it. If you wait till it's too late and the trees are starting to wake up a little bit, the buds are starting to swell, maybe even break a little bit, that Scionwood's already coming alive before you even get it grafted to the tree or grafted to the rootstock, and that takes a little while for that graft union to callus to make sure that rootstock can actually keep that scion alive. So you want to make sure that that Scionwood is completely dormant and asleep, so that graft union will callus, and then by the time that Scionwood wakes up, then everything's going to be just fine. That rootstock will be able to keep that Scionwood alive. So now's a good time to do it when it's dormant. You don't want to wait till it's too late when it's waking up. All right. What you also want to use is you want to use last season's growth. That's the best. Using older wood, it's a little bit more lignified and hardened off. It's too woody. And I mean, not that you can't do. I would say like on your cultivars of apple that have a lot more vigor to them, really aggressive. You can be okay, I suppose, but your grafting percentage is going to go down no matter what, I think, compared to using last season's growth. So how do you know when you go out to the tree? How do you know what to look for? How do you know what last season's growth is? When you come out to your branch, you got your apical or your terminal bud here. If you follow that back from the end, okay, I'm looking to right here. This here is a growth ring. This here was here last spring, 2023. Okay, and then when this tree came alive and it broke dormancy and started to grow, then it started to emerge this shoot from this point all last season. So this is what we want to use for grafting. Okay, this here is two season old wood. Here's another growth ring right here. So this here little piece, I should have cut a little bit more off. This is 3 season old wood. So this has been 2023, 2022, 2021. 2023 is what we want to use. Last season's growth, that's what we want to use. And we want to try it, the best to work with that has enough meat to it is pencil-sized wood. So if you got Scionwood that's 3/16 of an inch, 1/4 inch, 5/16 of an inch, that's probably my favorite to graft with, and that's usually a lot of your rootstock's going to fall within that range too. I've used 3/8 inch wood before too, but I tell you, you really got to have your grafting knife pretty sharp to get. That's a lot of wood to try to get through. But this here is the most pliable, but yet firm enough to support the blade when you're making your cut, and that's on a different dinner. But this is just for taking the Scionwood for whip and tongue grafting or your bench grafting. You want last season's growth. That's what I just showed you. When you take this, well, I should say too, if you can't get your pencil-sized wood and all you can find is something small like this. I know some people, they get Scionwood from different cultivars from people across the states, and they get a little piece of wood like this, they might bellyache about it a little bit, but you could still use it. Just your technique might change a little bit, but you could still use this for your grafting. It's just that this would dry out a lot faster than what your pencil-sized Scion will. If you go out and you're trying to replicate, say, grandma's old tree, or you got an old tree on your homestead, you don't know what it is, it's just huge, hasn't been pruned in ages, and you go out there and all you can find is maybe new growth that's like this. this is all you can find. Sometimes, well, you could do bud grafting. In that case, that'd be later on in the season. But if you wanted to use, take advantage of whip and tongue grafting during the dormant season, what you could do is do some pruning on that big overgrown tree. Prune it back pretty hard, and you get a lot of new growth on there from this spring and early summer here this coming season. And if you prune it back pretty hard, you can encourage some new growth, and you might get some of that pencil-sized wood that I was just talking about that you can use for your whip and tongue graft. Storing it. So if you go out there and take your Scionwood and you got to store it, you're not going to graft right now. What I do is I put it in a Ziploc bag, usually the bigger Ziploc bags, because my cuttings are, usually 12 inches or a little bit better. I put them in a paper towel or a newspaper that's damp only. It's not wet. It's just damp. If it's wet, you're going to end up with mold in there, and it's just not going to work very well. Water droplets, not that I'm being too scientific about this, but water droplets on the wood itself is what can cause some issues. So you want to try to avoid having that. So you only want that paper towel and the newspaper damp only. Some folks, they'll just dip the ends in wax, like the end that you had cut. You'll dip that in some wax. That'll help preserve some moisture too. You just want to make sure that's not too wet. And then when I have it in a damp paper towel or newspaper and I put it into paper bags, sometimes I got to check that periodically in the refrigerator, because there's condensation that's collected on the inside of the bags. Now I got water droplets again, so I'll open up them bags and kind of leave them. Sometimes I just leave them open, and they just don't usually dry up, but they're not enough to where I actually got to wipe it out or anything. It's too much water. It's just enough water where I got to keep the bag open, and that's fine too. Get some air circulation in there. You just don't want them to dry up, but you don't want them too wet either. So, not that you got to be picky. You just got to have them damp. That's it. You just want to make it damp enough so that the Scionwood doesn't dry out. I know some folks have dipped their Scions, like a 10% bleach solution, 1 part bleach, 10 parts water. I've never done that. I've never had any issues, but I don't really collect Scionwood from all over the place anymore either. So I've got enough variety or cultivars of my own that I get any more, I might be in trouble. So I guess that's it. Now's a good time to prune or take the Scion when it's dormant. Don't take it when it's too late, when it's starting to wake up. When these branches are starting to wake up, I guess I just don't. Last season's growth, we talked about using the older wood. It's too lignified, it's too hardened off by now, and storing it. I guess we'll go with that. If I'm missing something, I'll have to redo this later. All right, you take her easy.